Okay. Can I hear you?
Hello, hello. Testes,
Holy
testes.
crap, that was loud.
Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where this week Mandy is dealing with some heavy weather and may or may not disappear in the middle of this recording. Who knows?
Yeah,
We
Hurricane
hope.
Helene is on her way. So if I disappear, it's because I had to leave or I lost power or internet or all of the above.
But staying safe is the most
Staying
important.
safe, that's the priority.
Yep.
Thankfully, our guest today is a friend. So no, we always interview awesome people anyways. So like nobody
Right.
would be like, you left our interview to go survive a hurricane.
Right.
Rude.
Not
But
if there's no way we're inviting somebody who would not understand that
right.
in the podcast.
By the time you're hearing this, you can check my social media. I'm sure I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But just in case you like get anxiety about weather, we have an RV.
Yes.
We have it packed and ready. We have go bags for us and our dogs if we need to get out of our house because we're down in a hill. We're doing everything to be safe and we are prepared. So then now go check my socials. I'm sure I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've posted since this
Yes.
has been recorded. So
Yes,
I'm gonna be
exactly.
good. Anyways, I'm Mandy of Gold Springs, California.
And I'm Karin from the Witch's Road.
Oh, I should also say I've got my sound on my phone. So if you hear Harry
Oh yeah.
Styles talking, it's not a disembodied voice. It's me getting a text. I just feel like for tonight, for the circumstances, it's safest if I see we're under a tornado watch right now. I don't want to miss if we move into a warning and I'm supposed to
Right.
shelter.
Right.
So if you hear Harry Styles talking, he's just trying to warn me that the weather's happening.
In your defense, though, your microphone is so good that it only picks up sound that comes
Fair.
like directly in front of it, so we might not even hear it.
Yeah, y'all man.
Which is actually
Sad.
kind of sad. Yeah, I was gonna say, we don't get to
Yeah,
hear Harry
because
Styles.
Harry says, make some noise for Mandy when I get a text. So, like, usually I would never have my sound on, but my ringtone is Loki singing. So it's Tom Hiddleston singing.
Yep.
And my text tone is, make some noise for Mandy, everybody. I'm happy to hear my phone go off.
Right. Well, maybe not in this specific circumstance. It might be a little
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, true. Harry will be here to soften the blow.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now you say some mean things.
I am so sorry. There's no way to soften this blow. I am not as lovely as Harry Styles or Loki with his singing voice. In our timeline, it is September 26th, and in y'all's timeline, it is October 4th, and Mandy is fine, everybody. Mandy's fine.
Fine.
She's fine. Even better because it's officially October and all the spooky stuff is happening.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, this week in fangirling, what'd you do, Mandy?
All right. So I have that I watched 2 episodes of Agatha all along. My notes were not to get into too much detail just yet since it just came out. But if you disagree,
No, you can whatever you want to say. I don't have very detailed notes.
yeah, I just don't want to get into too much detail since it just came out to give people time to watch.
Right.
But it's Agatha after the events of WandaVision. It's a Disney Plus show. So even though I'm 2 episodes in, nothing much has happened. They normally save the big stuff for the end and then everything pieces together. And then my only other note is I'm living and breathing for Aubrey Plaza.
She's
being
so
in it.
damn hot.
She's a fan favorite in my house. Okay, we all love Aubrey Plaza.
One of my notes for Agatha all along is just Aubrey Plaza is so damn hot. That's the note. That's it.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I also want Catherine Hahn and Juliette Lewis to play like sisters in everything because they look so much alike to me and act so much alike to me.
Oh man.
That like, how could you not be sisters in everything you ever film ever?
Yeah. I'm so intrigued to see where this season goes. I was really yesterday, so
I will say the first episode is starts out kind of like a crime procedural.
It's so funky.
And we know last season they did like genres or like decades, and and it kind of mirrored a show. I told Josh like I hope, and I was wrong. Spoiler alert. I hope that every show every episode is like a different show format. So like one episode you've got a crime procedural, then the next it's like Bridgerton, and then the next is like The Big Bang, like a
Yeah. Oh my
comedy. It would have
gosh.
been really funny if
That
they
would have
had
been
done something
really
like that.
funny. That would have been really funny, but I don't think that there's any like because there was a plot reason for that, right? In
Yeah,
WandaVision. In this, there wouldn't be like a plot reason for it,
yeah.
which is I think the only reason why they're not doing
It
it.
just would have been so funny for that
Oh,
to
it would have
have
been
been like the
so
the funny thing
it
this
would have been
season.
so good. It would have been so good.
I was like, oh my God, give me a Bridgerton episode of
Oh
Agatha
my
all along. Come
God.
on.
They went like really like hard overacting in the first episode, and I was like a little like thrown off by it. I was
Yeah,
like,
especially Catherine Hahn
Catherine,
with
yeah, I was like, Catherine Hahn
Agatha.
is so much better than this. Like,
Yeah.
what is happening
It
right
was,
now?
but then I feel like it was supposed to be she's
Yeah,
playing a like beat cop
yeah,
detective, overworked,
yeah,
underpaid.
yeah.
And so like I get it,
After
but at the same time it was like
I think that was the
me.
point. That was the point, like, of that part of it, and you don't realize it until it moves along. But just in the moment, it's like this is really hard to watch, actually. Like
Yeah.
it was really difficult for me to watch, and I was like, oh no, am I gonna hate this show? And I was
Yeah.
really, really worried about it. But I was like, Catherine Hahn is much better than this. Like
Yeah.
this is
We'll get there.
trust the process. Trust the process, and she does not disappoint. I love her so much.
No. I love
Her
all of
so
the
much.
casting is perfect.
Oh my gosh, the cast is phenomenal. The cast is amazing. I love the cast so much. I'm so excited to see what happens. Like, I'm
Fingers
so
crossed I get to go downstairs after we record and the weather all
yeah.
of the weathermen are wrong. All of the weather women are wrong. All the weather them are wrong.
We're
And I'm going to watch
manifesting.
Agatha all along and I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to wake up and everything's going to be great.
Yeah, let's manifest
Not
this.
weather, not weather
I'm
related.
good with this.
Okay. After Agatha all along, I have still been listening to Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I have listened to roughly 5 million hours of this book and I'm still not a third done.
It's so
I
chunky.
I looked down and I was like, surely I'm getting close. And it was like 23%. And I was like, how? How? I have been listening to this book for months, it seems.
And you also listen at an increased speed too.
I do. I'm at 2x speed.
Oh my
I need to go look
God.
and see like how long the actual audiobook is because it's got to be 500 million hours.
That is wild. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. I love it.
So
Are you looking it up? Because I'm totally looking it up.
look it up and I
I'll-
will just talk about it for a second. There's a reason that it's so long and it's because it has a lot of fluff. And I'm
Mm,
hoping that eventually all the fluff means something,
mhm.
but it's just like there are so many scenes. There are so many scenes.
A lot
For
going on.
why?
For why?
For why? Like I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, I'm like, it's so tedious at this point too. It's getting so I don't know. I'm in over my head.
Okay, so it says the paperback first edition is 1,006 pages. The paperback edition.
Yeah, I think that's what I have over here somewhere.
So let me see. It does it for some reason when I look at the audio, it tells me number of pages instead of listening hours.
Let me see.
I'm going into Audible right now to look it up. I don't
It
know why I didn't think to do that in the first place.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am over a third. I have listened to 13 hours and 52 minutes and I am 38% of the way in.
Oh my goodness.
I wish it would give me like book info.
Okay.
Where is this?
32 hours and 29 minutes.
Oh, okay. This has extra stuff. The Libro.fm version has 36 hours and 34 minutes. Yikes.
Alrighty then. You have fun with that.
Anyways, I'm fighting for my life with this book. I
love it.
want to finish it, but I'm just like, oh my gosh.
It's one that you have to just commit to and
Yeah.
take your time with and let it happen. It'll happen. It'll just take time.
It'll happen. I feel like I've spent more time listening to this than I did for the entirety of my Throne of Glass. Listen. And all I think when
Oh
I'm
my
listening to it is,
gosh.
I could be with Dorian. My husband
Oh
is
my
back in
gosh.
at the end of Assassin's Blade. He's
Uh-huh.
in the third of the four novella. I think there's 4 novellas.
Right.
I'm like, before you start 5, listen to Francesca, and then you can cry. Anyways, he's really making me want to go back to Throne of Glass again. After we finished recording last week, I finished Did You Hear About Kitty Carr by Crystal
Mhm.
Smith Paul. I loved it. It's such a good book. My only critique is that it got a very, very, very abrupt ending.
Oh,
That you don't see that being the ending. And so I feel like it could have used 4 or 5 more chapters
okay.
before
Wrapping up.
it just ended like that. Like I had to
Interesting.
like look and make sure there wasn't an error. It
Okay.
was that abrupt. We went pseudo camping this weekend. We went to Murphy, North Carolina to visit my father-in-law and his fiance they've been like making their way they went out west and
Mhm.
came back. So they're in an RV, but they stopped in Murphy, North Carolina. They're going to be there for about a month and then they'll make their way down here for the holidays, of course. We took the RV, we took the twins, and we took George Bailey. It's a very cute little town. It's got a little downtown area. We went on a river walk.
What does that
My
mean?
idea of a river walk is little stores on the side of a river with sidewalk. No, no. This was like in trees
Oh,
and a dirt path
in the outdoors?
in the outdoors.
You
There
went
was
in
a
the
sign that
outdoors.
said we were in Bigfoot's breeding grounds. That only lasted for like 20 minutes. And then we went to Mercer Orchards in Blue Ridge, Georgia, which I got 2 flights of cider because I couldn't decide between the two. And Josh got a blackberry sangria smoothie thing, slushy.
Okay.
Delightful.
Sounds amazing.
So we earned our alcohol. Um, we grilled out burgers that night. It was nice. It was peaceful, quiet. We were in the Smoky Mountains. I took a lot of notes, mental notes, because I am that way. I
Mhm.
did not break out a little notepad for my book because a lot of it takes place in the mountains of Appalachia. So it gave me a
Nice.
lot of ideas, a lot of things to tweak. On the way home, we got Whataburger, which was the second time in a week that I had Whataburger. So I was
In
flying high.
heaven.
I was in heaven. Oh, I love it. While we were on our trip, I started and almost finished. I finished it last night. Bells, Strings, and Forgotten Things by Brienne Randall, one of
Oh,
our besties.
love her.
So the Patrides sisters, I could be pronouncing every name wrong. Just go ahead and throw that out there. The Patrides sisters are Lightcraft witches who are kind of tasked, kind of cursed with protecting the dark oak. So it's a big tree in the forgotten forest that's said to hold this massive, terrible power inside after their mother pretty much abandons them. Thanks, Mom. So Calliope is our bisexual chaos queen.
I love her already.
She cannot sit still for more than 5.5 seconds.
I love
Like
her.
her mind won't sit still, her body won't sit still. She is chaos in the best way. Dahlia is their mother sister. So she's the oldest. She's the one who like bosses them around. She
Hmm.
was like an older teenager when their mom left. So she took on the role of you have to get to
Mm,
school, you have
got it.
homework, you got to take a bath. Calliope is the youngest, and Eurydice is the middle sister, and she's the peacemaker between the rules and the chaos. So they're all adults now, and Calliope is convinced that their threads of magic that they've woven around the dark oak is fraying, and Thalia won't hear any of it. One night, drunk and sad after going to a bar with her best friend Danny, Calliope comes to the forgotten forest. I'm sorry, comes to the forgotten forest. She goes to the dark oak and nearly kills herself because she notices damages to their threads, touches it, and is attacked by shadows,
Oh.
like this terrible shadow monster that you end up finding out is pretty much a wraith. Thankfully, Lucian Denise is there. He's a shadow crafter. He's a shadow daddy. And he saves Calliope's life by accidentally binding her life to his.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
now they have to find a way to break this stupid bond between them. Oh, but Lucian also needs the power within the dark oak that Calliope and her sisters will die to protect.
Mm.
Romance things happen. Brienne is, of course, one of us, one of us, one of us. So this freaking book proves it. There was at one point someone had the air that he is burdened with glorious purpose. At one point, one of the sisters says about another sister, "You have bewitched him, body and soul." That's the face I made reading this whole book. I was like giggling, kicking my feet. Like I was so excited finding these little Easter eggs for
Oh my
fangirls.
gosh. I love her so much.
I know. I'm like, she's one of us. I
Hmm.
freaking loved it. It was a 10 out of 10. Anything she touches, though, I'm going to love. There
Yeah,
are recipes at the end
thank God.
because she's Brienne.
Yep.
Yeah, really good book. Really, really good book. Everybody go put it on your TBR. I think it comes out in February,
March
March.
4th. I
March
want to say
4th.
March
I was
4th.
thinking March 4th or February 4th, but yeah, you're right because
It's
it's
definitely
spring.
Yeah, it's definitely March. 4 could be wrong, but I think it's 4.
Yeah. So very, very good book. And then I've started Angels and Exorcists by Finley Ray, but we're going to talk about that more later.
Yes,
And
we
then I've been
will.
hurricane prepping. What did you do this week?
Also watched Agatha all along. I have watched the 3rd episode, so I won't say anything about it. I did write down a note. Other than Aubrey Plaza is so damn hot. There's that scene at the very, and this is not a spoiler at all. It has nothing to do with the plot at all. This is just me being very extra. But there's a scene in the beginning where they're still doing like the cop procedural part of the episode where Agatha asks Herb, she's really dead. And he says, she is most sincerely dead. And she says, you never know, and gives him a wink. And I'm like, first of all, Wizard of Oz reference. Second
Yep.
of all, Wanda is not dead. That is
Yeah.
that is all I took away from that line. I'm like, that's all I need to know. That's all I needed. That's it.
Yep.
That's what I'm nothing is going to convince me that Wanda Maximoff is dead. Nothing on this earth is
Nope.
going to convince me. I'm so sorry to anybody who thinks otherwise, but you're wrong. You're
You
wrong.
could be wrong. It's fine.
You're wrong. You are welcome to live in your wrongness, but you're wrong. Anyways, I read Coming Home by Melissa Grace. This is the 5th and final book in the Midnight in Dallas series. It follows Luca Sterling and Mackenzie James. Luca is like the bad boy of the group, and the
What
book
instrument?
starts, he plays electric guitar.
Okay.
Yeah. And the book starts off with him kind of MIA from everybody. Like, nobody's heard from him in months, and they're like, oh, it's fine. This is kind of his thing. He's traveling, and sometimes we just don't hear from him. And they're kind of like, well, it's getting to be a little longer than usual. Like, this is a little bit more than his usual shtick. Turns out Luca has been lying to everybody and has not been traveling, just been literally holed up in his apartment. Has not left his apartment in months. Has been just
Odd.
holed up in his apartment because he's dealing with the band has broken up. He's convinced he is very depressed. This sweet
Yeah.
baby angel is depressed with a capital D. And at some point, he goes to bed. His phone's been dead for however long, and he's just been like, whatever. Nobody cares. Nobody, they don't need me. Their lives are better off without me. That kind of like mindset.
Yeah.
So he goes to bed with his phone like off and under his pillow. He wakes up to his phone ringing, and he is like, I'm sorry, my phone's been dead. I didn't charge it, and I never powered it on.
All of a sudden it's ringing.
All of a sudden it's ringing. Clearly it's the universe. Nothing's convincing me otherwise. But then he sees like all the messages and all the voicemails, and he's convinced like it's all like them like starting to like reach out in the beginning and then just like giving up on him. And it's like, no, we miss you, and are you okay? Like just checking in on him, just checking in. And he
Yeah.
realizes like, oh shit, like
They actually like me.
they actually like me. I should probably. And so he goes to therapy. We love Luca
A
so
self-aware
much.
king.
Love him so much. Meanwhile, you've got Mackenzie, who is one of I think she's a manager or something at Katie's Kitchen, which is one of the other female main characters, a little bake shop restaurant kind of thing. And she is dealing with her own kind of grief. It's the 15-year anniversary of we find out, and I guess this is like slight spoilers, but the death of her brother, and it's the 15-year anniversary, and it's not just a death, there's more to it, which is revealed later on through the story. And so it's just really hitting her hard. And she's part of a grief group, and they're trying to be like, hey, let's spend time together. And her mom, usually she spends time with her mom on that day, on the anniversary, but her mom's gotten this really great opportunity to go to Italy. It's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's completely paid for and everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so Mackenzie's like, you have to go. Like,
Yeah, I would kick my mom's ass if she didn't go.
she was like, you need to go. Like, he would want you to go. He would want you to be happy. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. you need to go do this. And so she really ends up struggling, and that is kind of when Mackenzie and Luca kind of come together and start their friendship. And it's a slow burn where they kind of go from strangers to friends to lovers, and it's so good. I cried the entire book. Literally the entire book. And I knew going into it that this one was going to be the hardest one for me to read, just because one, Luca is my favorite character in the whole series.
Yeah.
And two, like, I knew going in that this was going to be about depression and grief, which
Yeah.
is hard enough as it is, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm literally reading this in September, which is a hard enough grief and depression month for me, period.
Yeah.
I've got my own anniversary to deal with. And so, yeah, I was texting Melissa, I'm like, I love you, but I hate you so much. But it is so good. Like 10 out of 10, no notes. It is the perfect way to wrap up the series and kind of say goodbye to all these characters that you have loved for 5 books now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was everything. I loved it so much. And I was talking to Melissa, and she's like, people, of course people love the universe, and they're just like, hey, like, do you ever think you'll revisit it, or you'll like do little novellas or anything of any of the side characters? And she said it, and I agree with her. Like the series feels complete. Like it feels like everything that needed to happen happened, and adding to it would kind of, in a sense, be detrimental to story as a whole. Like it would take away from everything that happened. And so I think, even though I'm sad to be away from my babies, it is a complete story. So I loved it so much. I'm like, I need to go buy stocking Kleenex. I'm just like,
Please.
yeah, literally like cried the whole book, but it was so good. I loved it. I loved it so much. And then I read Demons and Museums by Finley Ray, which is the little like novelette prior to Angels and Exorcists. It is the perfect little small bite to like get you prepped for this series. It is fully a prequel. It is set, I think, 20 some odd years before Angels and Exorcist. So the main character in Angels and Exorcist we've got is Miriam. And so we get to see her as a teeny tiny little baby. And I was very upset at Finn, because I was just like, how are you going to make me fall head over heels in love with this tiny little baby? And then she's a full grown adult.
Make her grow up on me?
How dare
Just
you?
this suddenly?
I
She's an adult?
I deal with this in my own life. My child is no longer a teeny tiny child, and you're going to make me deal with it in my fictional life too? Like, how dare you?
Rude.
So rude. But it really is like the perfect intro, perfect tiny bite to get you started. And it gives like a good sense of Finn's writing style, as well as just what you can expect from the series. And I think if, I know people are like sometimes hesitant to start reading a new author, especially a brand new indie author. So I love that he did this to kind of put it out into the world. And it's like, hey, you can just get a quick little peek, and it's not a super long commitment of time either. Like it's like less than 100 pages. You can get through that so quickly, and then you know whether or not you want to continue on. And I personally do want to continue on, and I kind of need these books to be injected into my brain stream as soon as possible. Yep. So that's where we're at with that. I finished This Will Be Fun by E.B. Asher. I adored it. It was definitely slow going at the beginning for me. It was a lot of, I don't know what it was about it. It just was like, there was just a lot going on in the beginning that also felt like not a lot was going on in the beginning. Not much was going on, yeah. So I don't know, but like, I think once I hit that 50% mark, I was just like, oh, okay, like, I'm really digging this. Like, I'm really diving into this. And I had some like expectations of how I thought it would end, and it kind of hit those expectations, but at the same time in a way that I wasn't expecting. Which I love. That, yeah, it's like, oh, this is how the book is going to end, and this is how they're going to get to it. But then it's like, surprise, that's not actually how we get there.
That's not how we do it.
What? I really enjoyed it. So yeah,
cutesy.
It was one of those moments where it's like, people always talk about like, this this book has this moment where it turned my 4-star into a 5-star. Like that's kind of how it felt. Like that
Mhm.
little twist to it made me be like, oh, okay,
All
this
right,
pumps it
then,
up a little
yeah.
bit. Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then I started Angels and Exorcists by Finley Ray, which we will be talking about momentarily. So I'm not going to say anything more about it.
I like that plan.
That was my week. I think that was everything.
That was
That's
a good
everything
week.
I've written down, so we'll go with it.
I just remembered I did my Kindle.
Oh yeah, you did. It's so pretty.
Mr. Darcy's hand.
So
That's Aaron Warner quote.
of course you do.
I love it.
Of
So
course you
pretty.
do.
Do you have a fictional boyfriend this week?
If I did not say Lucas Sterling, I have been body snatched. That man has been the love of my life for 5 books. He has not once been the star of his own story and has been the love of my life for 5 full books. Did I love the other couples? Sure. Did I love Luca more? Absolutely.
The whole time.
I understand that this is your story and this is about your love story, but where's Luca?
Yeah. What's he
Like,
doing? Is he busy?
I think his character arc from book 1 to book 5 is just so dynamic and so wonderful. Like you see him in book 1 and you're like, this guy, the fuck is wrong with this guy? But at the same time, you're like, I love him. At least I was. I'm like,
But
I love
Daddy, I
him.
love him.
It really was. Like, if I brought home Lucas Sterling from book 1, it would definitely be a, but Daddy, I love him situation where it's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing with this miscreant?
Miscreant.
But like going all the way to book 5 and like book 5, Luca, you've got just like, this is truly the man that you want to bring home to your parents. And it's like, and he doesn't lose any part of him. He just grows. And it's so just, I love this man so much. I love him so much. It was so funny because before she started writing book 5, it might have been when she was writing book 3, maybe 3 or 4. I was like,
Yeah.
if you wanna name Luca's love interest after somebody you might know, I would not be opposed to that. And she's like, you've already met her. I'm like, damn it, Melissa. I should have gotten to you sooner. But
Dang
yeah,
it.
that is how much I love that man. I'm like, please write me into the book as his love interest because I love this man so much. So yes, my fictional boyfriend for this week is Lucas Sterling. How about you?
Love it. Mine is Lucian Denise. I forgot to mention how like diverse this book is. There's so many different like cultures. It really shows how much Brienne has traveled. Like she's talked about it with us before, how she traveled. Like she's traveled the world. So Lucian is half Turkish, half French. So he speaks like 7 languages. And then Calliope and her sisters are Greek. But there are so many different cultures, even outside of theirs, that they like meet and interact with. Anyways, I pictured him. Does this ever happen to you when you're reading a book where like you're picturing one person and then it changes and it kind of flip-flops back and forth? Okay. So most of the book I pictured Naveen Andrews. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
It's Saeed from Lost, Jonas
like,
from Sense8.
I was like, what do you mean? I watched Lost religiously. Of course I know who he is.
Yeah. Saeed was my favorite character on Lost. But then sometimes Justin Baldoni came in.
Okay.
So
I can see that. I can see that.
Either way.
Yeah.
It's fine. And he talks like Mr. Darcy, kind of, but with a French tone. But then if he casts spells, it's in Turkish. And he's a shadow crafter. So he's out here wielding shadows, which we all know.
Shadow daddy.
For a shadow wielder. Ugh.
We love a shadow daddy.
Right. I love a shadow daddy. If I ever am reading, like give my list of what I did this week and the shadow daddy is not the book boyfriend, the fictional boyfriend of the week, it's not me. It's not me.
Body snatched.
Yeah.
So, I was gonna make a joke when you said it. You said that Calliope and her sisters were Greek, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't supposed to figure that out just by their names.
Right.
Like that's just what I assume. I like.
They're the fate.
Those are very, very Greek.
Yeah.
I love it.
And he calls her Little Muse because they're all named after muses.
Right, right.
So he's like, my little muse.
Oh my God.
The man's got a filthy mouth from the start. Just like, God almighty, man. Give us a break.
Oh my God, I
Don't give us a
love
break.
it.
We don't want a break.
No, not really. I love it.
So, yeah.
Excellent choice.
Lucian Deniz. I don't really know how she wants us to pronounce that. We're going to beg her to come on the podcast again.
We'll find out
in the fine print, and we'll
February/March. We'll find out next year, early next year. We'll know. We'll know. That sound means we have an intruder alert.
Oh my gosh, when the intruder is our friend, it's even more fun.
It hits like, different. This is so cool. It hits different. So we are introducing y'all to our dear, dear friend, Finley Ray, who is the author of Angels and Exorcists. Look at that. It's so pretty. Welcome. Welcome. I'm so excited to talk about this. So what we normally do is we start off asking our authors to give us like an elevator pitch of the book for anybody who hasn't heard about it.
Yes, hello. I am Finley Ray. I wrote Angels and Exorcists, and it is essentially a very gay episode of Supernatural. That's the best way I can really... In 30 seconds, that's the best I can do.
It is perfect, though.
Karin wasn't ready, and I'm really sorry.
I was not prepared for that, and that is so accurate, and I love it so much.
Can I tell you how dumb I am, though? Because I like literally live and breathe for Supernatural. And when I started reading, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like if there was a fun version of Evil. I don't know if you guys have seen this show.
You're right.
Evil.
Thank you. That is actually, I think, more accurate.
No, but it is like a fun episode of it's like a gay episode of Supernatural too.
Oh my gosh. It's like,
oh my God, it is Evil. I forgot about that show.
It's like if Evil and Supernatural had a baby and it was very gay.
Yeah.
I like this.
Pretty much.
I like this.
That's pretty accurate.
I think that's going to sell a lot of books. I feel like this is going to be great. I'm really excited.
How we do it. Oh my God.
This is how the goodness comes out of the chaos. See? Sometimes our chaos does things. Oh my God.
Put that on a sticker. Sometimes the chaos does.
Okay, so it follows Miriam, who is with her godfather, Zachary, and Zachary is a exorcist. I feel like I haven't finished because I've been in hurricane prep. I feel like he's got more of a something going on than I realize yet. Not in a negative way, but not in a bad way.
That's the fun part.
Yes.
I just feel like he's got something in his past that I'm going to be upset about.
Oh, absolutely. Have you read the shorter one?
She hasn't read the little one, so she doesn't know.
They were out of order. I have them out of order.
That's totally fine. You can definitely read them in either order, but yeah, you're going to be upset. Sorry.
Oh no, my feeling.
I mean, I'm not upset. I like it. It's fine. The backstory is there. I get it, but yeah. So where did the idea come from for this story in this series?
So it started back, I think, like 2009. I was watching Ghost Adventures because it's a comfort show for me, which is probably very weird. But growing up, that's what me and my mom and my sister always watched, that or Ghost Hunters. That was just Sunday night. We all like got together and watched that really dumb show, and it's great, and I love it. I can predict like the pattern of just like how it's gonna go, and it's very comforting. And I was kind of thinking, I was like, there's not really any girl ghost hunters. Like, you'll have mediums, but you don't really have a lot of shows where the girls are going into haunted place and be like, dude, bro, did you see that? Oh my God.
Come at me, ghost.
Karin, go in there. Except it's ERIN. You don't have a lot of that. So that's where it started. And then life took me on a lot of very, very strange rabbit hole like paths. And so I ended up using it kind of as a way to process some religious trauma. And now it is what it is today. So, and that's where we are. So
I was going to say, I'm from the South and I already am having some of my religious trauma healed a little bit because like I grew up in it too, like where it's like they tell you do this, follow the word. But then when you do it as an adult, they're like, that's socialism. What do you mean?
Yes. Absolutely. Was just this hippie communist who took a whip to people in the temple, and I think we forget that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have flipped tables at the way y'all act.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So
Would have been
what's it
cursing all
like
y'all fig
having to
trees.
like yeah, what's it like having to like filter through that trauma knowing that so many other people are going to relate to it and make it into a story that is fun and funny at the same time?
So it definitely helps because there's definitely times when I worry about marketability of it because like we said, it's very gay, it's very queer. So I do worry about that sometimes. And so bringing in that religious trauma aspect of it and just having Miriam work through a lot of the stuff I went through in a more fantastical fantasy sort of way kind of comforts me, and it both in that like I'm not alone in those experiences because when you're going through them they can be very isolating and you don't really find out that everyone was kind of there faking it along with you until you're an adult.
Right.
So it's very isolating, but also it's very nice to know that I can hopefully provide an outlet for other people to kind of work through that and be like, oh shit, like I went through that, like that's what that was. So
Yeah.
that
You guys
is,
did
and
it
I
too?
do, yeah, exactly. The fun part comes from just I get a lot of joy out of just making people laugh, making people smile because the world is on fire, and
Yeah.
I can
We have to
and I
So
can
stop
only
people
do
true.
from
so much
crying.
about it, but I can at
Yeah.
least put Twilight references in my books. And
Okay, look.
The
I'm
way that
sorry.
I cackled, I
The easy
about died.
breezy beautiful cover band.
that's one of the few things that have not
Genius.
changed at all from
Perfection.
me.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I died.
All the references that I have
The
come across so
millennial
far.
humor.
I'm like the fact that I'm not still just laughing and not able to breathe is a miracle in and of itself. So, as somebody who did not grow up religious at all, especially not in like any sort of Christianity, it's interesting for me to read it and go into it, realize like I think there's something special about the way that you're able to write to a specific audience, like people who are going through the religious trauma, but also it appeals to people who don't have that same kind of attachment to it. And so I'm curious to kind of like understand the writing process and how you manage to balance, I don't know, like I don't know what I'm trying to say. I lost it
It's like
halfway through.
having one foot in that religious setting and then
Yeah.
like kind of moving it out. So
Yeah. That. I'm really like there's not a lot going on up here, guys.
no, you're good. It's fine. I get it. I've had a week, so I'm right there with you. I guess I didn't really realize I was balancing that, and it's encouraging to hear that I am because I think if you do grow up in that setting, like it was traumatizing, but there is a lot of good that came of that too. I think it gave me community in a time that was very turbulent in my life, regardless of like what me and my mom we've kind of butt heads over the years because she thought it was a good thing that we were so active in church, and me and my sister are like, no, there's some weird, not good stuff going on. And it's kind of we kind of butt heads, but I also see where she was coming from because she's like, well, I wanted you there because you had good male role models, and I did. My youth pastor was great. I was very close to a few of the male counselors in my youth program, and my dad was not really around just because of personal stuff, job stuff, a lot of stuff. He wasn't really there, so it was good that I had those influences and I got to experience a lot of stuff. And I still have good friends that kind of went through that with me. One of my very good friends from high school. Every time I'm in town, I see her. She just had a baby. I made her baby a blanket, and I was just so excited. And I remember just when I told my wife that she was pregnant, I just remember both of us lighting up. And that's not
Aw.
someone that would be in my life if I hadn't gone through that, and we hadn't gone through that together. And it's also fun because we'll mention something that happened, and we'll be like, "The fuck was that?" So, and there were good times. I think I wouldn't be, like Mandy said, I don't, everyone kind of forgets just how extreme Jesus was in what he called people to do and how loudly he called people to love on each other. And I do think I try to emulate that, even if I don't necessarily identify as Christian. That is something that has stuck with me. So it's just try to bring both the good and the bad and the just silly, because on Lemon's Listening Library, I told the story of being like 8 or 9, and they thought it was a good idea to show us one of the Remnants movies, not the Remnants, left behind. And so being 8 and 9 and being afraid that I was gonna get left behind in the rapture, which is ridiculous. That's so silly.
Terrifying. I'm with
It was
you.
terrifying though. When you're 8 or 9, it's terrifying. Then you look back and it's just really funny. So like being able to bring, I like to think I can bring kind of all those sides, like the bad, the good, and the just really silly,
Yeah.
and kind of explore all of that at the same time.
Yeah. I love it.
Speaking
Yeah.
of silly, can Miriam come like kick my ass? Because I feel like she could kick my ass. I kind of want her to. I am low-key obsessed with her. Where did she as a character come from? Like as far as
I
in
did
your
not realize
brain
she
and
was
everybody
gonna have.
else.
I don't understand. So she did not have so much muscle mommy energy at the beginning. But she's definitely increasingly, the more I work with her as
Yeah.
a character, she definitely has that energy. I think so. Some of it was, so I am, for listeners who do not know me, I am a transgender man. I grew up a girl. I didn't start transitioning until about 26. And so I grew up in the church as a girl during the early 2000s in an evangelical church, which was its own circle of hell. I think Dante would have made a special circle of hell just for growing up in the purity movement. And so I think she comes from a lot of that rage and a lot of that discontent and a lot of that recognition that something is not really right, but not being able to articulate what it is. And so she comes from a lot of that. I think just a lot of that feminine rage I feel like I will always have, regardless of how I identify or what testosterone does to my voice, because it's one of those things you had to be there.
Yeah, you had to live it. She
That's
smarts off to this dude like 3 pages in, and I was like, my girl, get him. Get him, girl. Do it.
So we had this conversation, Finn, and it wasn't so much a conversation, it was me kind of just yelling at you. like like how so Demons and Museums is a like little prequel novelette that comes before everything kind of happens in Angels and Exorcists. And we see Miriam as a little itty bitty baby. And I was so upset to find out that I did not get to keep ittle bitty baby Miriam. I was like, hold on a second. How dare you make me fall in love with this baby? And now she's a full grown adult. And yes, I love her as a full grown adult, but like, how dare you?
So in my defense, I wrote Angels and Demons for Angels and Demons. Um, Angels and Exorcists first. Demons and Museums was supposed to be a short story, to be like a newsletter, like kind of a newsletter freebie.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was so much fun that it kind of grew, and so I just turned it into that little novelette. So I apologize, but it's not my fault.
I love them, but I'm just like
I mean, there's a lot of space. I mean, that's like a 20-year gap. So there's definitely room to go back and explore some other.
I just really, really like the vibes. Like, and I think this is how we're marketing it, is like it's Pedro Pascal adopting a Tana baby. And I'm just like, the vibes are
the vibes are vibing.
excellent there. Like, I just want to live there for a little bit longer. But it's fine. It's fine. I do love Miriam as she is as an adult. I just also am like, I have always been like a baby person. And so I'm just like, there's your baby. There's your baby. And now she's not a baby. So that's my own hang up.
That's respectful hang up. I'm sorry. I think maybe.
Listen, you guys, you need to understand how not here I am right now. I was reading earlier and I thought that I read a character's name as a different character, and I was so confused. And I was like, Finn, hold on, what's happening here? He's like, Karin, no.
So I mean, I was fully ready to come home and check my file, because low key I still need to fix that other typo you sent me. And then,
but like I don't know. I truly thought that the bartender had the same name as the dad, and I was like, no, I just read it wrong. It really just was me being so tired.
I mean, to be fair, they're very close. In retrospect, I should have made them different, but
it's fully a me problem. I promise you, it is fully a me problem. Oh my God.
So what is your like writing process like when you sat down to start this story?
So it was a lot of biblical rabbit holes, a lot of apocrypha rabbit holes, which those are books that for whatever reason, there's a long list of reasons, it depends on the book, didn't make it into one version of the canonized Bible or another. Reading a lot of those to kind of see what I
That
wanted
had to have been
explore.
terrifying for a former church kid.
Those are the cool ones though, because the thing is, like, my gripes were never necessarily, okay, I should say, once I was an adult, because as a child, when you see God turning someone to a pillar of salt, you don't sleep. But
Oh.
as an adult, my gripes were never with the Bible. It was always how it was interpreted and how a lot of things were not. Things that are in conflict were never really resolved. Those were never talked about in my church. But my wife and I, we go to an Episcopal church now, and there seems like there's a lot
Episcopalian.
more. Oh, hey, same thing.
Hey.
And so it feels like there's a lot more room to research that and to just kind of let the Bible be what it is, which is a collection of a shit ton of books that were written over thousands of years by a shit ton of different people. And so going into like learning that there's even more ways to look at God and more ways to look at Jesus and just experience religion in this corner of the world was very fascinating to me. And I ended up settling on the Book of Enoch and getting really obsessed with that. Shit, this is the second time I've talked about this and not grabbed my Bible, so I could talk point at it. I have a giant encyclopedia of saints right here staring me down, but I forgot my fucking Bible. So that looks at, in Genesis, it talks about the Nephilim being on the earth before the flood. And so the book of Enoch basically takes that and kind of blows it up into like a full book. And so that's kind of where I got that idea and kind of playing with the idea of like there's more here. There's more here than I guess there's more in the text that lends itself to narration than is presented, and that was very fascinating to me. It didn't help that at the same time in 2019, that was when the pilot for Has Been Hotel dropped, and the internet was obsessed. So I think that also subconsciously influenced some of these ideas of like the demons not necessarily being the bad guys, of like it's not as black and white as it's supposed to be. And just the idea of Christian mythology is very interesting to me, which I kind of want to deal with more. This is more, I would say, Jewish mythology, I think you'd say. Someone can absolutely blast me and correct me on this later. I totally admit I can admit when I'm wrong, and if I'm out of pocket, correct me. But like just looking at that as mythology, because we look at so many different religions and so many different cultural practices as mythology, but we never stop to think that, you know what, the story of Noah, probably actually a myth, probably didn't actually happen.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just so much there that like it's more interesting, and I feel like there's more dimensions if you look at it in a more legend or myth angle.
There are so many things like that though. Like, did we really part a Red Sea? Or was it something else that was a little bit blown out of proportions from what it actually was?
Yeah.
So most scholars now think it was a sea, quote unquote, a sea of reeds, which was basically sort of like a marsh, is what that was supposed to mean.
See, and they like when they put it in a movie or one of the cartoons that they put in front of you in church.
Listen, I will not stand for Prince of Egypt slander, okay? They get a pass. I don't care how inaccurate it is. Prince of Egypt gets a pass. It's so good.
This is so true, okay? It was that or the little toaster, the brave little toaster at every lock-in of my life.
I'm surprised I let you watch that. They're like, I feel like the brave little toaster like would say like, "Oh no, inanimate objects can't have souls." Like, so I'm surprised you got away with that.
So okay, it wasn't Episcopal church. I've grown up in the Episcopal church, so it's always been a little more chill. But like my grandmother was not Episcopalian; she was a different denomination that I'm not gonna bash. And my in-laws are that same denomination. You can guess. I'm in Georgia.
You only got like maybe 3 options. So yeah.
So like I grew up in a chill church, but then like going to church with grandparents or friends, it was like, oh, y'all are scary. Like the God I grew up believing in was like loving, kind, and then they're like, you're going to hell. I'd go to sermons and it would be like,
nope. Yeah,
what?
That's
are you guys okay?
Oh my
The answer is no. The answer is no.
Yeah.
This is all so fascinating for me as an outsider.
Karin, my whole life motto has been like, I don't have any issues with Jesus. His followers are weird.
They get weird.
They get weird.
get weird.
That's fair.
They take it too far.
Karen, if you ever want to trip, just like Jesus camp.
I have literally no sense of religion. I just organized religion makes no sense in my brain. I just never has.
There's just a lot of hypocrisy especially in Christianity. You will sit in a sermon where they tell you if you're gay, you're going to hell. Meet us outside for the ham lunch after. And I'm going to, and the pastor has a shaved face.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not supposed to eat pork. You're not supposed to shave your face. You're not supposed to wear certain kinds of fabric. You're doing all of these things, but this one is the one you want to call out. Are you kidding?
My biggest thing is like, aren't y'all supposed to love thy neighbor? Like,
Yep,
I mean, that is kind of the whole
lot.
point of Christianity. And like, I have never been able to wrap my mind around that. I'm like, I know nothing about organized religion, and I know that. Like, you're supposed to be kind and compassionate to people. And it just, anyways, that is beside the point. I want to know. What I want to know is. No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it's not completely, because that is something, because as you progress through the book, Miriam does address that, especially in this book, kind of the hypocrisy kind of. And you saw it a bit in Demons Museum, like how they treat Zachary, despite the fact that like he's trying to be better and he's trying to, but because of mistakes he made, like at the dawn of time, like they're still holding that against them. So yeah, I think that's still a bad point. But you said you wanted to know something. Yes.
I'm very curious because I know this is a series. So one, how many books do you have planned, and are you a plotter or a pantser? Like, do you know how it's ending, or is it just kind of like, I don't know, they're telling me as I go along?
It's kind of, so right now the game plan is 5 kind of like main books, which is where you get the big picture story, and then in between those I want to do kind of some side stories, like just in like different couplings, kind of just because just as an indie, not to talk like super nerdy business stuff, but like with indie you're always encouraged to publish more frequently. The model that a lot of people want to push is like 4 books a year, and that is not happening. I have adults like it
not sustainable.
Like, no, it's not sustainable. Like, I got taxes to pay, y'all. Like, it ain't happening.
You got work for the Illuminati to do.
I know, like, the Illuminati's not gonna stand for that shit.
Job.
Right.
So I figured, I'm like, okay, if I really stay focused and challenge, I can aim for 2. So that's like one of the main books and then one of these smaller novellas. Like Sirens and Snow, it just is out with beta readers right now, and that looks at Thackeray and Emery's Who You Will Meet and You Will, I'm sure, adore. So that's right now is kind of the plan, is to get that, to have the 5 and then like 4 or 5 little mini books. I'm kind of a plantser, so I can definitely, I need some sort of outline. I use Save the Cat Writes a Novel a lot. I look at that religiously as far as the beats go, and so I get kind of the major beats, and then I kind of fill it as I write. I kind of fill in the blanks of how to get from point A to B.
I just recently learned about that book, and it's currently in my Amazon cart because I'm like, I need this so desperately.
I have a printout of like the breakdown.
Yeah.
I used just the beat. So the beat sheet's free, so you can get that online if anyone is interested. But the actual, I finally bought the actual book, and I really appreciate. I use the actual book more than I use the sheets now because I'm just gonna grab it. Of course, I have that by me.
I mean, there's a very cute cat on the cover, so.
It is a very cute cat. But one thing I really like about that, so they'll go into like the basic structure, like the basic 3-act structure, and then break that down. But then they'll go different ones. Like they have kind of a customized beat sheet for like a mystery, a whodunit, another one for like a romance, one for more horror oriented. So they have like an overarching one, and then you can tailor it to what kind of genre you're, which I appreciated.
I need it so badly.
That is so helpful.
I need it so badly. I'm struggling.
Because Sirens and Snow, I didn't realize it till I like sat down and because I kept hitting like dead ends, and so I looked at that and it's like, oh, it's this kind of story. It's not the one I'm trying to tell. This is the kind of moment.
I love that. Very cool.
So
you heard that here, folks. Save the cat.
Save the Cat Writes a Novel.
They're not paying us, but I would not say no to money. And also,
they can.
They can.
But it's also a very, very good book. I use that religiously.
I love it.
Pun intended. You use it.
Oh, absolutely. Right, I did.
Okay, so we don't want to keep you too long, but we have a couple of questions that we always ask our guests just because we are who we are.
Mhm.
So the first one, we have a segment on the podcast that we like to call fictional boyfriend of the week. It doesn't have to be a boyfriend. Karen's had a fictional granny, fictional pets, fictional found family, any kind of romantic interest, whatever. But do you have any fictional characters that I feel like Captain America is going to be one of them, like your favorites, just from your shirt and your
No,
blanket?
so I like any good. So Captain America is my wife's favorite, and so like any good husband,
Oh.
Hey,
Um,
I need to make Josh wear some Loki merch.
there you go.
But who are your fictional characters?
My favorite. So I am forever in love with Gerald of Rivia. I think I don't care what your sexual orientation. If you're a man, you're in love with Gerald of Rivia. I don't make the rules.
Yeah. Yep.
So definitely, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, this is the moment where like everything you've ever consumed just like flies
every
out your
media
brain.
you've ever consumed is just gone.
It's gone.
You're like, have I ever seen a movie? I don't think
It's
I've
like,
heard
look,
of a book.
it's the only magic trick that we have is to wipe your brain.
I can make your memories disappear.
Yeah. So for like books, for like multimedia, I'd say that. For like TV, I'd say Daryl Dixon. I'm on season 11 of
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. Thank you. I even forgot what it was called. Which I feel like I'm one of maybe 5 Americans who watched the season 11, and he's just kind of the
my husband
kind
did.
of like the who did?
My husband did. Yeah, we watched it all.
We were wrong. We wronged them when we stopped watching when Glenn died. It was actually very good.
Yeah,
but he's just kind of I don't really relate to him in like the like rough, dirty, like just always on your bike out eating squirrel and snake sort of way. But this kind of, I don't know, I've kind of come to identify him with my Illuminati work, which sounds silly, but like just kind of being 1 foot in, 1 foot out of being with like kind of coming home and being in normal society, but also being able to rough it in some ways when I'm out and having to,
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
I
kind of
totally
straddle
see
that.
I really thought about that.
But yeah,
so
for sure.
So he's kind of like an archetypal, like big brother sort of image for me now.
That's a good choice.
Oh, I love it.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. That's a really great choice, and I love like the meaning behind it. But I'm just over here, like he's real hot.
That too. Like
my brain, like I said, my brain. There's not a lot going on up here, guys. So I don't have a lot of deep stuff like that.
Karin, have you watched Boondock Saints?
I have not. I have not.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Karin.
I know.
See, every time I look at him, I just hear, "In Shepherd's Week shall be for thee, my lord, for thee."
That's fair. I respect that. That's respectful.
Yeah. You got to watch Boondock Saints, Karin.
I haven't watched. I almost saw you. For some reason, I still am in like early 2000s mode. So I hear Boondocks, and I immediately go to
the cartoon.
The cartoon. Which is they're both great. They're very different, but they're both great.
Very different things.
They're so different.
Oh my gosh.
But I haven't been reading as much fiction as lately, just because with research and trying to better my craft, I've become since putting it out in the world, I've become very self-conscious. So
you should not be. You should not. Like I understand everything I've read so far. It's been great.
Yeah,
like it's pulled me in. I didn't want to come upstairs to record because I was reading.
Yeah, no,
I was excited to talk to you guys.
I was reading and I had to like go to my child's parent teacher conference and I'm like, is this really necessary? Do I actually have to go to this? Can't I just be reading? So that's what you've done to me.
Please cryo. Thank you, but also please prioritize.
You're like my priorities are shifting a little bit.
Well, Angel the Exorcist is about to get me through a hurricane, so if I lose power, my Kindle's got life.
Yes.
There you go. Awesome. Love that.
I guess this is like a bad time to ask the other question that we always ask our guests, but like we have to because that's what we do. So we know that we're gonna be wrecking your book because we're already obsessed with it. But what we want to know is, what are you reading, recommending, like what books?
We know we're researching right now, but like what are your favorite books?
Yeah, do you have a favorite that you think people should read? Anything like that?
So I'm in the middle of The Stolen Heir by Holly Black, which is one of the favorites. Yeah. This is definitely one of my favorites of hers I've read in a long time. My previous favorite of hers was In the Darkest Part of the Forest, which I think they're like right up there. I really enjoy both of these so much. I mean, I love everything she does, but
yeah, I walked past her at Y'all Fest and like she was busy, so and like she had a ticketed line, but I was just like, I'm breathing the same air as Holly Black right now.
I know that feeling. Yep. Nope. I've been there because she's what got me into like just really fucked up fairies back when I was a kid. So it just
Yeah.
that's the way I am. She's one of the reasons I am the way I am. Her and those nuts are
I
in-
told my nieces all about Cardin Greenbrier, and I was like, and he has a tail, and they're like, look, you just overlook it, okay?
Listen.
Fine.
But yeah, so that's what I'm in the middle of. And that's been very good. Also, highly recommend The Flowering Blade. I had to think for a second, which is it's by another trans indie author about a fairy prince who gets captured by a horde of orcs, which is about as smutty as you probably are imagining it is, and it's great.
This sounds
So
like
if
everything
you're
I could ever want.
I know. So if you want to be cultured, read The Stolen Air. If you just want to be a smut goblin like the rest of us,
Listen,
I
I
want both.
The
am
Flowering
very
Blade.
much like right now, I'm in this weird slump, and I've talked about it on the podcast. I'm in this weird slump where like all I want to read is KU smut. So that's like
I
right up my alley.
Eventually one of these days I have like 3 more books I have to get through, and then I can finally sit down and read the series Sex Wizards. And that is the I'm holding that. I was like, no, I can't be a goblin that. I have to do real serious work first. And then I can read Sex Wizards.
That is just all the more reason to get through writing. That can be a reward at the end.
Well, there's also another reason that I'm going to tell you right now is that because you have been on the podcast, you're actually legally obligated to come back for all future book releases, which means you have to write them. So, like, get to
Chop,
it.
chop.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you got me there. As a paralegal, I cannot give legal advice on how that. I don't think that's legally binding. So it's fine.
We've had a lawyer told us it's totally legally binding. Yeah, a UK lawyer.
But again, I can't. I'm a paralegal. I can't
Lawyer.
give legal advice. So yeah.
No, remember that one time we actually did have a lawyer on the podcast, Mandy?
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't have a brain either today.
It's okay. You're on watch.
Yeah, I'm on hurricane watch.
All right.
But yeah, it's totally, absolutely legally binding. You definitely signed a secret contract that.
And every time your wife has to tell us hi before we record, because
that's also
absolutely.
a little obsessed with her.
Also in the
I love
contract.
her so much.
He was very excited to be able to come say hi to me.
We love her. We love her so much. Okay, so friends, this episode is coming out on release day. So you can listen to this episode and then you can go pick up a copy of Angels and Exorcists.
Yes.
It's amazing. And you should absolutely do that. Maybe buy like a couple. You never know. You need gifts.
Share it with your friends who have religious trauma.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of those people.
Please.
Trust, there are a lot of those people out there. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's great. Did you watch Supernatural? Did your church fuck you up? I got a book for you.
I want to make the way that you said that, I want to make a really cheesy infomercial.
Oh my god.
You're just walking in front of like a green screen of an Impala.
You guys.
You like Supernatural? And then a green screen of pews. Do you have religious trauma?
I hate that. I love it. I actually feel
And
like
then
I
the
need
cheesy piano music starts playing.
Wait. This is, I'm sorry.
You have to play a hymn, or I'm coming back to the heart of worship, or like something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh my god. I love
the
this
old rugged cross.
so much. This if this doesn't
No, the
happen,
old
I'm
rugged cross
riding.
is
Okay.
too dignified. It has to be one of those worship songs that has 4 chords and one set of words for 5 minutes. Gotta be one of those.
And then everybody's just standing like this in the background.
100%.
Oh my god, I love this so much. Okay. Listen, if this doesn't happen, I'm riding.
Yeah.
This needs to
I'll
be
learn how to make a green. I will learn how to use a green screen just for you.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. I'm sorry. This is excellent. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been such a blast. I can't breathe from laughing. My cheeks hurt.
I know my face hurt.
I think I got abs from all the laughing. So
Well, you're welcome.
thanks for that. Everybody go pick up a copy of Angels and Exorcists. You will not regret it. I promise you that. We will talk to you soon, Finn. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Give your wife hugs for us.
Yes, all
and
the hugs.
tell her to give you hugs for us too.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
I love
her so much.
God,
I love them both.
Yes. I love everything. I love everything that just happened. Like
His sense of humor and like his whole demeanor, his whole vibe reminds me so much of my brother. Like I felt like I was talking to, I have 2 brothers, but the older of my 2 brothers, he reminds me so much of my brother.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. I felt like I was just sitting at family dinner.
I love it. Yes, because I'm also part of the family.
Yeah,
I would
of
definitely
course.
be at family dinner. The little Asian kid just hanging out in the corner. Hey guys.
My family would love you. Okay.
Oh, seriously, my cheeks
Oh,
hurt. It's so much
I
fun.
know.
I'm
Dang it,
so
Finn.
I know. But also so much fun. I love it.
Yeah.
Yay. So yeah, everybody go pick up a copy of Angels and Exorcists.
Angel and Exorcist.
And while you're at it, you can go pick up Demons and Museums. It is
Mhm.
available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, yeah,
Oh,
go. I don't know if Angels and Exorcists is going to be, but I know Demons and Museums is because that's where I read it. So yeah, go if you have Kindle Unlimited. That means it's free for you to read. You just go in and you read it real quick, and it's super cute. I love me some baby Miriam.
I can't wait to meet baby Miriam.
She is she's always like you can see how she's a menace as an adult. She's always been like that, even as a baby.
Oh,
Even as a baby. So yeah. Yeah. So go pick up the books.
do it now.
It was so much fun. Okay. I guess it's time for announcements.
Yep. This one's a
This is
multi-repeat offender.
Yes, it is. I'm so excited. I feel like I've been like I know we said this about
Podcast
Rebecca, but like I
bestie.
feel like I've been waiting for this one for a while
Oh
as
my God, I've
well.
been waiting for it since
Since
this
the very
last
first
book.
time. I've been
Yeah,
waiting
since
since the
this
very
book.
first time. So we're bringing back R.K. Ashwick to talk about A Captured Cauldron, which is the sequel to Arrival Most Vile. Like, I mean, do you
I can't
remember?
wait.
Do you remember how much we freaked out over Arrival Most Vile? Like, this is gonna be so good. I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited. And I love talking to RK. She's so much fun. Plus, we also usually get like visits from her cat, which I love as
Yes.
well. I mean, can it get
And
any
she
better?
usually does like a really cool green screen background too.
She does too. Oh, I love
They're the
it.
coolest on theme.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be done with hurricanes
Yeah.
by then. Knock on wood.
I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun. We can't wait. Yay! And now it's time for the spiel.
Just doing a little spiel. I gotta
Look
get
at
down
us
to my
go.
notes for the spiel. I
You
use
do
notes
that.
and I even say them wrong sometimes.
Yeah, I do too. I say it every week and I have notes and I still get it wrong. So, welcome to the chaos, y'all. We're incoherent for a reason.
Incoherent for a
look at I'm wearing
reason.
my
Yeah.
shirt.
Yay!
All right, friends, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. Please also follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all the things. You can also visit our website, theincoherentfangirl.com, which also hosts all of our episodes, which you can stream, and then you can read our blog, which has so many reviews that I don't even know what's on there anymore. If you are interested in early access to podcast episodes, full video episodes, as well as bonus content, I literally scheduled bonus content to be released like the next few days, and I'm so excited.
Yay! Is it the funny?
I don't
bonus
even
content?
remember what I posted. I'll let you know
We'll
later.
find out. Yeah.
We'll find out. But yeah, you can head over to theincoherentfangirl.com/Patreon to subscribe and get all of those goodies. I have recently learned that Patreon is now allowing you to like set a specific post for sale. So like somebody could buy just a post if they wanted to.
Weird.
So maybe I'll put that up for our bonus content because like nobody really, I mean, like, yes, the early access is cool, but like after the
Bonus
fact,
content is
it's
cool,
not,
too.
after the fact, it's no longer early. But bonus
True.
content is bonus no matter when.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't want to just subscribe, like commit for the long term, maybe we can just have the bonus content available as like one-offs if you feel like it.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Yeah, very cool Patreon. They're changing a lot of stuff. So it's been interesting. But yeah, you can head over and do that. And then you can also get some cool stuff in our merch shop because we have one of those and Mandy is very good at designing stuff. So head over to theincoherentfangirl.com/shop to do some shopping. It is self-care season, so it's like
It is the
kind
season.
of required for you to do some self-care shopping. Just saying. And
Agree.
then if you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, design ideas, or you want to tell us that we're pretty, we will accept all of that. All of the good stuff in our inbox, theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. You know we love hearing from y'all
Always.
all the time. And of course, one last way to support the podcast is to rate and review wherever you are listening to us. Please give us your words.
We
You
love
know
your
we love
words.
words. She is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
She's at Miss Made in China on all the things.
And once you have followed us on social media and you followed the podcast on social media, you can head over and do the aforementioned self-care and visit our internet besties. First stop is herecomestenerd.com, where you're going to add a bunch of stuff to your cart, use code fangirl, and you'll get 20% off your first order.
And then you're going to head to onceuponabookclub.com, get some bookish boxes, subscribe, whatever you want to do. You got to pick one of our codes. We love you no matter which one you choose, but they do not stack. So use either code Karin10 or Mandy10 for 10% off. Hello, you just have to spell Karin right, or we're going to talk shit about you with everyone we know
0%.
and judge you.
There's going to be a lot of
off.
lots of judgment. Yes. And once you've done that, you're going to head over to our other bestie, Amber D. Lewis. AmberDLewis.com. You're going to add like 10 of everything to your cart, and then you're going to use code fangirl10 to get 10% off of your everything. And now you've gotten something for free and saved a whole ton of money. So
girl math.
Look at how I said that so confidently, Mandy. Like, do you think they believe me?
Yes.
It was good math. It was good math.
I believed you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And then last but not least, you're going to go support the show husband. We've got Stream Beacon TV up and running now. Roku app should be live when you're listening to this. We've got on Apple, on Google items. Google, anything that uses Google Play, anything that uses Apple. So yeah, streambeacon.com. You'll use code fangirl10 to get 10% off.
Streambeacontv.com.
See, I told you I have it in front of me and I still say it wrong. StreamBeaconTV.com, fangirl10 for 10% off. Follow at Stream Beacon TV on everything. Then you're also going to want to follow Searchers Believe and the Paranormal Mind. Paranormal Mind is on a little bit of a hiatus, but you can go listen to all of their episodes. They're still out there. We're just working a little more heavily on Beacon right now. But if you want some Searchers merch, head to searchersbelieve.com/shop and use code fangirl10 and you'll get 10% off there too. Someone you know designed most of the stuff over there too.
It was Mandy.
So it's me. So yeah, go support the show husband. We kind of like him around here, I guess.
He's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah,
he's all right.
We'll keep
And
him.
I think that was the Incoherent Fangirl.
Yes, it was. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
We love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.